Well, hey everybody, Mr. Reeves back with you. And today in this video, we are looking at lesson 10.2 in the 6th grade math book, evaluating expressions. More specifically, we're going to be evaluating algebraic expressions. So, remember, an algebraic expression had three things. It had a variable, it had a constant, and it had an operation. Of course, it can have more than one variable, more than one constant, and more than one operation. But those are the three things it has to have. Again, an algebraic expression must have a variable, which is a letter used to represent an unknown or changing value. It has to have an operation, like adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, or exponents. And it has to have constants. A constant or constants, remember, is just another word for a number. All right, so evaluating expressions is finding a numerical value, for an algebraic expression. All right, and the only way you can do that, the only way you can find a numerical value for an algebraic expression is if they give you the value of the variable. So if you take a look here in example 1, they have the expression x minus 9. So x minus 9 is our algebraic expression. X is our variable. Subtraction is our operation. And 9 is our constant. So then they tell us x is 15. Remember, a variable is either something we don't know or its value changes. In this case, they're telling us what it is. X is 15. So we do 15 minus 9, we use a process called substitution. Substitution is when you replace something in an expression or an equation with something that it's equal to. So I take out the x, I put 15 in, and 15 minus 9 is 6. All right, so then they have another expression here, algebraic expression, 16 divided by n. Remember, 16 is the constant, division is our operation, n is our variable, and now they're telling us that n is equal to 8. So 16 divided by 8 is 2. So when you evaluate the expression 16 divided by n with a value of n equals 8, then the answer that you get is 2. All right, so that is the process of evaluating an expression. All right, so let's go ahead and do a couple more of these here. You'll notice for each of these problems that they have here, whoops, that's not what we wanted. Let's see if we can get this to come up here. Alrighty, there we go. Alright, so 4x, remember when you have a number in front of a variable, that number is called a coefficient. A number in front of a variable in an expression is called a coefficient. 4x means 4 times x, alright? And they told us x is equal to 8, so that's 4 times 8. So the answer that we get is 32. Alright, so evaluating 4x when x equals 8, the answer is 32. All right, here we have 6.5 minus n, and they're telling us n is 1.8. So what are we going to do? We're going to do 6.5 minus 1.8. 6.5 minus 1.8. I'm going to go over here and do it. By the way, it is perfectly okay if you're using a calculator on this assignment. All right, so I here am going to have to borrow, right? Because 8 is larger than 5. 15 minus 8 is 7. And then 5 minus 1 is 4. So the answer to this one is, I'll write it in both spots here and here, 4.7. Finally, last one here, m divided by 6 when m is 18. I get 18 divided by 6, and 18 divided by 6 is 3. So the expression, the algebraic expression, m divided by 6 when m is 18 is equal to 3. Now, each of these algebraic expressions only had one operation. But what if an algebraic expression has more than one operation? Then you must use order of operations. All right, so if you look right here, we have 4 times x minus 4 when x is 7. All right, just a reminder of order of operations, fondly referred to many times as PEMDAS, right? P stands for the parentheses. All right, and remember, parentheses are grouping symbols. Actually, I should spell it correctly, seeing how that was right next to it. In fact, I'm just going to go like this. All right, there we go. So that P is the parentheses, and then the E, remember, is the exponents. We do exponents next. All right, and here's where it gets a little tricky. M and D are multiplication and division, right? But we have to do it from left to right. So multiply and divide. But remember, we do it from left to right, which means sometimes division comes before multiplication. Sometimes multiplication comes before division. All right, and finally, this last one, I'm going to put it on top here. All right, A and S stands for addition and subtraction. So we're going to add and subtract. But this, just like multiplication and division, we also do from left to right. Okay? So we reviewed order of operations earlier this year, but just a reminder that when you are evaluating an expression, you also follow order of operations. So the first thing they did was they took that 7 and they put it in for x. All right. Now, what this tells us here is we're going to do 4 times this expression here, right? But we're going to do what's inside the parentheses first. So we do what's inside the parentheses first. 7 minus 4 is 3, and 4 times 3 is 12. By the way, later on, we're going to be reviewing something called the distributive property. So if some of you were thinking, well, what about that distributive property that I learned? 4 times 7 is 28, and 4 times 4 is 16. 28 minus 16 is also 12. Could I have applied the distributive property? And the answer is yes. The distributive property is something that works in spite of order of operations. It's a property that gets you the same answer. All right, but we're going to recommend for now using the correct order of operations because that will always work. And you may not know the distributive property. All right. Okay, what about this one right here? We've got, 4 times x. I'm sorry, I went too far down. My apologies. Here we go. 4 times x minus 4 when x is 7, right? Well, 4 times 7 is 28. Remember, what do we have right here? We have multiplication, and right here we have subtraction. Well, multiplication comes before subtraction. So again, I put that 7 in for x. 4 times 7 is 28. 28 minus 7. 28 minus 4, is 24. All right. Okay, let's take a look at example D here. We have x squared minus x. So again, if you take a look here, what do we have? We have an exponent and we have subtraction. Well, what comes first? Exponents are the E in PEMDAS, which comes before subtraction. So they're going to put in 9 for each of those x's right there. So they get 9 squared minus 9, but we do the exponent first. 81 minus 9 is 72. Okay, so just a reminder, when you are evaluating expressions, if it has more than one expression, more than one operation, you're going to follow order of operations, right? So for this one, we would do the parentheses first, and then we would multiply, right? For this one, we're going to do the parentheses, and then multiplication, and then addition. So actually, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite PEMDAS right up here. I'm going to do a couple of these, and then this video is going to be done. So here we go. How about n is 5? So I'm going to go right here. I'm going to put 5 in for n. So 4 times 5 minus 4 plus 14. So what do I have? Inside the parentheses, I have subtraction. Right here, I have multiplication. There, I have addition. So I'm going to do the parentheses first, or rather what's inside the parentheses. So I get 5 minus 4. So now what do I have? I have 4 times 1 plus 14, right? But now that I did what was inside the parentheses, now I'm going to do that multiplication right there. 4 times 1 is 4, and now I only have that one operation left, which is addition. 4 plus 14 is 18. All right, and then down here, just so you know, we are not limited to only one variable when we are evaluating expressions, okay? So if we take a look at this one right here, we've got A, B, and C. We've got 3 variables. How exciting is this? And remember, when you have 2 letters next to each other, it means multiplication, all right? So I have B times C. So for B, I'm going to put in 4. For C, I'm going to put in 3. And then I'm going to put plus 5. And then for A, I'm going to put in 3 as well. Okay, so remember, right next to each other, that means multiplication. So we have multiplication, we have addition, and we have multiplication. So what comes first? Multiplication comes before addition. So I'm going to go 4 times 3, which is 12, plus 5 times 3. Now I have addition and multiplication, but what comes first? Still multiplication. So then I get 12 plus, well, what's 5 times 3? It's 15. So finally, what do I get? I get 27 is my answer. All right, and then this one right here, a cubed minus b plus c. Again, a is still 3. So I have 3 to the third power minus 4, because that's what b is, plus 6, because that's what c is. All right, so what do I have? I have an exponent, I have subtraction, and I have addition inside parentheses. Well, I'm going to do what's inside the parentheses first, because that's what it says in order of operations. So I get 3 to the third minus, well, what is 4 plus 6? 4 plus 6 is 10. So now what do I have? Now I have subtraction and exponents. Well, what's next? After I did what's inside the parentheses, now I'm going to do exponents. 3 to the third power, remember that doesn't mean 3 times 3. 3 to the third power means 3 times 3 times 3, right? 3 being multiplied, so there's 3 times 3 times 3. Well, 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 3 is 27. So what do I get? I get 27 minus 10. Now I only have one operation, and the answer is 17. All right, so that is how you evaluate expressions. Remember, evaluating algebraic expressions is finding a numerical value for that algebraic expression, and we do that by substituting. All right, that word substituting, we take out the variable and we put the numerical value that it's equal to, and then we perform the operation or operations, following order of operations, and you get a numerical answer. All right. Hope this video helped you understand how to evaluate algebraic expressions. As always, if you need any extra help or there's anything else I can do for you, please don't hesitate to ask. Have a great day. Bye.